Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for us starting a few minutes late. I'd like to call to order the Health and Human Services and Aging Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024, and it's currently 1:10. Usually I start around 1:05. We will have other committee members joining us. So if we could have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Ms. Stevens. Ms. Stevens is absent at the moment. Ms. Turner. Ms. Turner is absent at the moment. Mr. Miller.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, has anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have one person, Lou.
Hey, welcome, Ms. Lou.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Not only I'm here to support the two ARPA funds resolutions, and I would like to emphasize what people should think about in the presentation for our child protection services. Even till now, I still remember vividly in one of the county council general meeting, but that was a while ago. I learned the fact that some of the kids, after they are taken into the custody, they put in the foster care system, yes, and it's not even in Ohio. And that created a difficult situation for the parents or the family members to visit the children at the times, because either they had a different job at a different, not conventional hours anymore, this and that. So right now, we still have the situation that lots of the children's, yes, it's good to protect them, but they are taken away from the family just simply because the poverty, not actually really being abused or neglected. Some of the things may look like neglection, but actually it's because of poverty. If the parents are around, even grandparents are around, lots of times they have to try to get jobs, whatever jobs they can get, because not necessarily these people will get a kinship care assistance. Yes, we have a foster care system now, but originally it was designed to remedy the situation that when you don't have families around, if you cannot have a kinship care, then foster care will help. But now it has been backwards. Lots of times, children are taken away from the parents, but the investigation or the evidence they have, you can actually tell it's not really the true spirit of being neglected or true spirit of being abused. It's from poverty. So probably we should think about poverty issues first, then to go back to look at our children's, all the protection services. Are they doing that really based on the true spirit of it, or they just want to make the paper or the computer screen look nice for their work? Yes, they do make effort, but if that's truly the services delivered in the way which will help the children to grow in a healthy and happy environment, so they can be growing up as a healthy adult, not get into trouble with the law or fall into homelessness. Thank you.
You're welcome. Madam Clerk, is that the only one left for public comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, that concludes our public presentation.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 1st, 2024 meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Conwell, seconded by Sweeney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Right. We have several matters that are referred to us today. And Madam Clerk, if you could read as well as a presentation from our Child Protection Team update. Madam Clerk, if you could read the first item into the record, please.
Resolution 2024-0134, awarding a total sum not to exceed $10,000 to the Make Them Know Your Name Foundation for the Heart Health Program from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Thank you. Please come to the podium, whoever is presenting for the ARPA applicants today. the ARPA applications have to go 3 readings. State your name for the record, and so that means it goes through first reading, and so you won't hear right away. These should, Madam Clerk, if everything goes well, should be June, what's the first date? Is that June 6th that it would be, or would it be after?
May 28th for second reading, and then June 4th for approval.
Okay, so June 4th, expect that to be hopefully an approval date, if all goes well. Welcome.
Great, thank you. Is it okay to hand out presentation
You would
packets or
hand
no?
them to the clerk, and she will pass it to us. Yes, ma'am.
For the record, my name is Nicole Ward, and I am the Executive Director of the Make Them Know Your Name Heart Health Foundation.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Right, we're ready.
Great. I would like to first thank you all for this opportunity to speak. As I already shared, I am the Executive Director of the Make Them Know Your Name Foundation. This foundation was started by our family and I, and the mission of the Make Them Know Your Name Foundation is to help prevent heart-related fatalities across the nation and starting here locally in our community here in Cleveland, Ohio. We have plans to accomplish this by providing the tools, the resources, education that is necessary in order to educate people on various aspects of heart health, and even more importantly, helping to instill the confidence in people to take action in emergency situations. Just wanted to share a few facts about sudden cardiac arrest, which is a health condition that my late husband passed away from while participating in a spin class. Again, this is something that has no pre-warnings, but it happens to a majority of us, knowing that heart health disease continues to be the #1 killer in the United States, and half of the deaths associated with heart disease is focused on sudden cardiac arrest. So sudden cardiac arrest, a lot of times when people are faced with sudden cardiac arrest, 90% of the time it is fatal. And what that means is that it is our responsibilities as bystanders, as citizens prior to EMS arriving, to take action in order to help save lives. Because if we are to work or wait for the EMS to arrive, on average it takes about 6 to 12 minutes for the EMS to arrive. And for every minute that passes, the chances of survival decreases by 10%. So that is why it's vitally important that we continue to educate people on the importance of how to do CPR and how to use an AED. Again, I just want to stress that this occurs and happens to anyone at any age. It's not something that happens to individuals just because they are of an older age. And we have seen this happen to people right here in our hometown in front of millions of people not too long ago. And the fact still remains that CPR and AEDs continue to be underused. So through the Make Them Know Your Name Foundations and with partnerships with our community partners, we are trying to bring awareness and to the importance of why we need to provide these resources and training. Just wanted to highlight that as a foundation, we began in 2019. We've had an opportunity to put on several signature events, approximately 20+ events over the past several years. And with our reach, we've had the opportunity to train over 15,000 people in the use of CPR and how to use an AED. And we also provide the resource of AEDs to public spaces such as schools, gyms, churches, businesses, and other public places as well. Taking the opportunity to bring awareness to this through speaking engagements, whether it's through TV, radio, shows, and things of that nature. Also have been working on trying to move forward legislation, working with the Smart Heart Coalition in the passage of House Bill 47, was able to provide testimony in support of this. In doing that, this bill would allow for all schools to have AED, or be required to have AEDs on their premises, and it would also require that they have an emergency preparedness plan so that they know what to do in case of an emergency, such as sudden cardiac arrest. And all staff would be required, coaches and staff would be required to learn how to do CPR and how to use an AED. Whereas right now, that is not a part of law. It's suggested, but these things are not required. I'm happy to share that that bill did pass at the House, currently moving forward to the Senate, and we're hoping that it becomes state law. Again, if you are following along in the packet, there's a page there that just demonstrates the outreach that we have had since our inception in trying to reach the community and reach people where they are. But again, I thank you for this opportunity to present to you in asking and wanted to share how ARPA Community Grant can help. I feel that this is a great opportunity for us together to impact the heart disease epidemic and to improve survival rates. We can do that through education and training, because what we have learned is that, again, this is preventable, that no one has to die from sudden cardiac arrest. Heart disease continues to be the #1 killer. Sudden cardiac arrest is associated with half of those. And if we are trained in knowing how to perform CPR and use an AED, we can actually change heart disease from being the #1 killer in the United States. Also, by working together, we can help to provide resources. I know you all are probably familiar with what happened with Damar Hamlin when he collapsed in front of millions of people, and it was because someone responded immediately and took action that he was able to survive. My husband was in a different situation. Even though he was in a public space, no one performed CPR and no one used the AED that was available. As a result of what happened in front of millions of people, we were already receiving requests for our services and providing these resources, but we have received an influx of requests of people who are needing these devices, wanting these devices, and wanting to learn more. We currently have over 150 requests that are sitting and waiting to be fulfilled, and so help from this grant would definitely help to provide the AEDs to those who are waiting for them. Also, it'll allow us to continue to bring awareness and encourage immediate bystanders to perform CPR and training, and also meeting people where they are. The events that we have, we try to go into the community and meet people where they are in an engaging format, but sharing with them this important message. So again, just presenting for the opportunity for us to form a community partnership, understanding that we would be creating a chain of survival. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you. I have one question that came to mind, Ms. Ward, when you talked about the 15K and trained to use CPR AED. My question, have you ever collaborated with Red Cross?
We have not collaborated directly with Red Cross, but we have a strong relationship with the American Heart Association and other local organizations of sorts. But to your direct question with the American Red Cross, no, we haven't.
And then I guess a statement that I would share is that we had something similar before that was brought to the county in regards to the AED, the guys in the purple, or something like that. I can't think of the young man's name, but anyway, it stood out to me. So I was talking to one of my nurse friends who has recently retired from CMSD. She was a nurse at CMSD, and she said, "Oh, I wish I'd have known because," and she could only speak for CMSD, but they have the AEDs and all that, and they value that. She said, the problem is not so much in terms of CMSD was the AED unit itself, but she said the batteries were very expensive. So my question to you, hopefully, you have calculated, because I heard it's a very expensive battery, that when it goes down, it needs to be replaced.
So, yeah, the battery is, sometimes can be a barrier, but I know that there is currently an organization that we're working with that's working on new technology that extends the life capacity of the battery. I know that the AEDs that we have provided to public facilities to this point, we work alongside them to make sure that they have the proper equipment that is needed and that we do that they are able to set up where they have monthly checks to make sure that the batteries and things are operating. If at any time Make Them Know Your Name can continue to be a resource to them and help with funding, because I know that the price point even of some of the AEDs can be a deterrent as well, then we try to help them in that capacity as well. But so that is something to continue to look at, the lifespan of the batteries, because of course we don't want an emergency situation. And I have heard of that, and then people
have
go to
too.
use it and just to find out the battery is not working. But they do have easy checks now that you can just walk by the AED, and if you see an X, you know the battery is not working. If you see a check, you know that it is working, and then you can, try to address that immediately.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up for any questions from my colleagues. Mr. Miller?
So, Madam Chair to Ms. Ward, thank you very much for being here and for this very important work that you do. And my question is, what portion of your foundation's funding goes for the purchase of equipment, and what portion of it goes for providing services and training and other things like that?
I would follow up with you on direct numbers, but I can say that all of the funds that come into the Make Them Know Your Name goes directly back into the community, whether it's through community events or providing the resources. We have, again, we're receiving an influx of requests for the AEDs, and honestly, the budget or the funds that we have currently for the foundation is not allowing us to meet the demand that we are receiving for the AEDs, and that's why we are seeking opportunities like this to work with community partners for grant funding.
Go ahead, Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome. First, my condolences. It's not fun. I see it in
Thank
your
you.
face, but you're keeping it going. So thank you. And this is something that is necessary, and your cause is, and your passion is alive and intact. And I don't got much, but I'll throw $5,000 just because it's you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so it looks like, Councilwoman?
Yeah, I just want to make a statement. Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you.
I want to commend you for continuing to do this work. Through your grief, you have become a blessing to so many. And I think of this quote, I know we all know the quote, God bless the child that has his own, but I'm thinking of this quote, blessed is the person who has a community to love and cherish, for they have been given a priceless gift. And I think as a community, you are our priceless gift, you and your family, the work that you continue to do. So it was a responsibility for me to be able to provide this opportunity for you to do more of this work. And I wish I had more to give you, but you out here hustling in these streets. I know you're going to get what you need to continue to be an impact for so many. So with that, this is a very personal issue to me. Also, having lost my mother and my sister to cardiac-related diseases. So I ask for your full support of this legislation.
Thank you so much. and thank
Any
you
other
for the
further
opportunity.
questions? All right, anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, again, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion, my Robert's Rules of Orders, individuals, to, can we amend this on the floor?
Next
Madam-
week.
Madam Chair, we can prepare a proposed substitute to include the increased dollar amount.
Okay, for
And
next week?
submit that, yes,
Okay.
when it goes for second reading.
All right, so right now, I appreciate the hard work that you do, and God forbid if any of us are in a restaurant or anywhere and we need this equipment. So we've got a long way to go to get it in restaurants and things like that, or at amusement parks or wherever we're at. So I'd like to add 10. So you are now up to 25.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to do 10, but you busted my thunder and went first, so that's okay. So we will amend the legislation when it comes for second reading. Today, we're going to pass it out of committee to the full council under second reading, because remember I said they had to go 3. But when it comes back, it'll be amended, and you'll have the dollar increase.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Oh, thank you. So I'll make
Did a great job.
I'll make the motion to move R20240134 to the full council under second reading, and my second is Ms. Turner. All in favor, please say aye.
Hi,
Aye.
Thank you.
could you add my name if you don't mind?
Yes, mine is too, mine as well.
Mine as well.
And mine too. I know I sponsored it, but yeah, add my name twice.
Your name.
Put her name on it, too.
Thank
All
you.
right, so. All right, Madam Clerk, if you could read the next item into the record, please.
Resolution 2024-0174, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to DNA Rising for the Foundation of Home 2 project from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Welcome. Yes,
Thank you. Good afternoon.
good afternoon to both of you.
My name is Danielle Acosta, president of DNA Rising. This is my incredible co-founder, LaToya Smith.
So I'm LaToya Smith. I am the secretary, co-founder, and I'll be quiet because I just had some dental work.
So we are here today to present and just show you a little bit about our program, our organization, DNA Rising, and our program, Foundation of Home. And we're so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for having us. We are 3 proud products of East Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised natives. We have Tracy Cleveland is actually our vice president, and she lives in Columbus, Ohio. And of course, LaToya and myself, but we are decided that we needed to make some changes. We have, just made it, kind of out of the circumstances that we came from. Our service population, single mothers and veterans, we all have several family members who are veterans. And LaToya was raised by a single mom. Tracy is a single mom. And we have decided to create an organization that provides bridge housing. And the reason why we came to this is because I am a rehabber, a realtor. I work a lot in the real estate space. And I was getting, as a Eden and Section 8 landlord, I was getting 8 to 10 calls a week from people, especially during the pandemic, which is when we founded, and just single moms mostly and veterans calling and saying, I can't find a place to live. Do you have any vacancies? And it just occurred to us that it's kind of ridiculous that we have over 80,000 vacant and abandoned units in Cuyahoga County alone, and we do not have housing for those that are coming out of, trying to rise out of homelessness, trying to get back on their feet, whether they're reentering or recovering. And so we decided that we needed to do something, and we had the ability to do something, which was amazing given our backgrounds. And so we decided that we wanted to renovate and create basically semi-permanent bridge housing. Our program is a minimum of 12 months and a maximum of 36 months to help people get back on their feet. It's not a shelter, it's not a group home, it's not just kind of a temp thing that they have to jump around. These are our renovated homes that are donated by the Cuyahoga Land Bank Charities. And, we decided that this is what we could do. And so this is our second project coming up in the Lee Harvard community. and connecting with community leaders over there as well. But we basically have obviously hefty goals. The properties that we are donated are not in awesome condition. They are pretty much could be, demolitioned or, taken out of commission, but the land bank rescues them and then they donate them to us so that we can create a bridge house for the individuals that are rising out of homelessness. And so we have, our materials budget, our labor budget. As you may be aware, post-COVID, during COVID and post-COVID, we've had materials and labor costs double and triple. And so it is now a lot more expensive to renovate homes. But again, we are, looking forward to, right now we're at like one house per year. Eventually we want to advance to a house per quarter. And we're just really excited about, our short-term goals, our long-term goals. And so now we are building relationships with so many community organizations, like the Cleveland Habitat for Humanity, Cuyahoga Land Bank Charities, the county, of course, the Home Depot Foundation. The list goes on of all of the support that we're receiving in terms of, organizations that are seeing the need for this. And also we have a nice crew of volunteers from Hope Worldwide and Dollar Bank who volunteer time. But the majority of what we need to renovate this 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house is obviously dollars. We have to pay the contractors. We have to get the materials. This is our first project, and the volunteer days that we conducted over there, we had several. But so many of our volunteers came through, but it was full plumbing, it was what I call a gut job. So it was full plumbing and it was full electrical and it was full drywall and paint. We would walk into the house and you would go on the second floor and you're looking down at the first floor. I mean, it was a full gut job. And so this home is going to be similar on East 176. It is a beautiful little brick bungalow, but it needs, a new roof. It needs waterproofing. It needs everything. New kitchen, 2 new bathrooms, the drywall, mold remediation. It needs everything. And so this is our mission and our passion to just serve those single moms and veterans who do not have the ability to kind of pull themselves up by their bootstraps, right? They need bridge housing to be able to get back on their feet. No private landlord is going to rent to them for the most part. And so we are very community focused. We have literacy workshops. We have an event coming up that we're very excited about. We're in partnership with HGTV's The Downing Brothers, as well as the Shaker Heights Library. I'm a part of the Shaker Heights DEI committee, and so we're just very excited to present. This is going to be on June 8th, and this is going to be something that is going to also help to get the word out, but the Downing Brothers are going to be teaching their book to 8th to 12th graders, teaching how to build wealth and legacy and kind of get started with financial health through real estate. And so they're going to be teaching at that event. They'll be in town from Chicago, and we're just very excited about that. But we have developed so many partnerships that are just going to make our work blossom and grow. And we want to do a house a quarter, a house a month, which has my co-founders shaking in their boots. But that's my dream and that's my goal. And so we really thank you for this opportunity. We welcome any questions or comments.
I do have a comment. So I want to say thank you to Council County Conwell, excuse my twisted mouth, but thank you because you were instrumental in our first home in the Glenville community. And so we want to personally say thank you again. Thank you both, you and Turner, for coming out and supporting us in that cold, wintry day. So
yes.
thank you so much for your support.
And that family of 6 is doing incredibly
Yes,
well.
we have a family of 6. They're doing very, very well. And so this is what we want to continue to do. We just had a meeting with Elaine Goldstein last week, who is super excited that we're coming into her community. She has invited us to come to the Block Neighborhood Community Meeting so that we can meet the neighbors and meet the community, so they'll know who we are, especially on that street once we start demo next month. So we are grateful to have this opportunity to present again. I know you've seen my face before. I wear many hats, and this is one of them, and this is an important one because this is mine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm just, can you explain a little bit about so you said bridge housing. So does that mean that they're temporarily in there until they want to move on their own, or?
So, yes, so they do have, it is not mandatory that they stay for 36 months. It's a minimum of 12 months and a maximum of 36 months. And we do provide, they do pay a small rent in addition to whatever voucher they have as a part of their wraparound care and case management. But they do pay $100 a month rent, and that $100 a month is saved for them. So if they, for example, stay 20 months and then feel that they are ready to move on to their own independent rental, or to, which is our ultimate dream and goal, to help them purchase a home, then they would have $2,000 to go towards directly to that landlord or directly to that mortgage, the down payment.
So is that part of Eden? Is that?
So they could have HUD-VASH, they could have Eden, or they could have Section 8 vouchers. And so we partner with those organizations as well as Family Promise and Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries, and they have wraparound care through those two organizations. So they have a case manager, they have a social worker, they have psychology, they have therapy, whatever they need. And then we also partner with Task Fairies, which basically assist us with home care and home maintenance program, which has been vital, that we learned that when people are rising out of homelessness, they don't automatically know how to take care of a home. So that is also a part of our program as well. So the minimum that they would stay is 12 months, but they have up to 36 months. So if someone's working on their associate's degree, or they're working on, a trade, or they're, going to school or getting their GED, whatever it is that they're doing, they have up to 36 months. Which is, obviously a much longer time frame than you would have if you're in a rapid rehousing, or if you're in a Laura's Home, or if you're in something that, so we are looking to partner with those types of organizations, Providence House, Laura's Home, those type of organizations, because they don't have anywhere to send their people once they're done. They don't have, they have nowhere to go. So they're out there on, Zillow or whatever, looking for a place for their people to go, and private landlords are not excited about whatever circumstances they're coming from.
And the other thing that we do also assist with, because we have many partnerships with different organizations, if those individuals decide that they do want to purchase a home, we do have partnerships with other financial institutions to help them with rebuilding their credit, understanding the importance of credit, financial empowerment. So we help them with that, as well as if they're struggling with finding employment, we have partnerships with other organizations, as well as, of course, myself can help with resume and helping them connect with those type of opportunities. So we want to make sure that we meet the individual where they are and provide them with all the necessary support. So once they bridge out of our organization, they're ready to go. And so that's the importance of our role in this organization and what we're doing, and pretty much trying to set ourselves aside from other organizations. So we just want to continue to do the work, and we just appreciate it because it takes a lot to do this work. I mean, a lot to do this work.
A lot. We learned a lot from the first project, which, it was a great, experience. We also learned that 12 months flies by in the blink of an eye. So does 24 months, depending on where the individual is coming from. So we landed on 36 months as a reasonable and appropriate time frame for someone to be able to do what they need to do, and their case manager is working with them to move forward through.
And last part, these are fully furnished homes. So if someone has come from homelessness, they don't have to worry about anything but bringing their clothes. These are fully furnished homes.
by Humble Design, our partner Humble Design. They design and they do an
they stage the home.
amazing job, and it looks like a professionally staged home, but it's actual donated furniture through their organization. And we set it up right down to the plates, the pots, the crock pot, the paper towels. Like we set up every single thing, vacuum cleaner, like everything that they could possibly need is ready to go.
And so my question would be, working in this field for so many years, 36 months is a generous, but we know some families may need more. So, and the outcome and the goal is for them to be, if they choose, to be their own homeowner. So I would just ask, are you connected with LMM?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So we could actually see.
where our first family came from.
A transition into an actual stable place, and then they can.
And Habitat for Humanity, they were just telling us, we met with John Litton, and he was telling us that they now have a mortgage program for people coming from exactly these circumstances, and they actually help them get a mortgage.
Yep.
So we are planning to
Those
partner
were my
with
top
them.
resources that I would say that are in this field that would be a great connection for the families to move on.
And Bank Charities connected us with them, and so we're
And
very
big
good.
charities, they're just great. I'm gonna open it up to my colleagues. Any questions, any statements? Miller?
I got one.
Councilman Miller? you wanna swing?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you very much for coming in, and this is a very unique approach to what I consider to be one of the biggest problems in our country, which is the lack of affordable housing, either to rent or to buy. It's very rough on both counts, and gotten much worse in the last 3 to 4 years. And what you're describing clearly fills a gap, and it helps people transition to something permanent. So my question is how are the residents selected? My guess is that with any modest amount of outreach, you could have 50 applicants for every one spot that's available. So how do you choose?
So ironically enough, it's a little more difficult than we expected, to be to be honest. I think just getting the word out. And that's why we do kind of community, workshops and events, like this one, to kind of get our word out and our mission out, because a lot of people just don't know about it. So partnering with these organizations like Habitat, like Lutheran Metropolitan, like Family Promise, that's the way that we select. We also are trying to work with West Catholic Charities, I believe is the name of it, but they serve veterans. And so, Adam, trying to, Northeast Ohio Coalition for the Homeless. I had some meetings with them this past spring. So yeah, ironically, it's the biggest challenge is getting the word out, and then like partnering with those organizations. This family coming up is most likely going to come from referred from Family Promise, or the people that are at the Family Promise shelter will be applying. So but oddly enough, it's what we learned is that sometimes we had lots of applicants and people interested in our first home, but they actually were not ready. They still were in kind of a recovery zone or different situations where they needed to be like in a group home. So ironically, we definitely depend on our partners.
Right. And Luther Parliament Ministries reached out to us and said, hey, we have a list of single moms who are in need. And so you have a
wait
choice.
list.
We have, a mom with 5 children, since you have so many bedrooms, or we have 2 moms who are willing to stay together. And that's the call we got. And so when with this second home, that's why we're going to continue to partner with them. And then once this house is almost ready, we're going to identify the family immediately so that they can ride the last part of this project with us and be ready to move in once we're done.
So the solution to the housing crisis is one family at a time.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
And whatever you're able to accomplish makes it better. So I wish you all the success in the world and hope it goes well.
I don't know, I know it's Sweeney's turn, but I don't know, maybe you can check with, Trevor, can you come up? I want to ask a question, I don't. So we have the,
That's how-
the community block grant, supplemental grant.
Yes.
Is this program one of those that could possibly, because they're
Yeah, I have to,
fulfilling community need?
Trevor Mackler, County Council staff. Madam Chairwoman, yes, I will check to confirm that. I think they might be eligible, but I want to confirm that before I give a definitive answer.
And so what that is, ladies, is we have casino funds that come in. We give $1.5 million into community projects, and it goes through Housing Director Sarah Parks Jackson, and they have once a year rounds for $30,000, $50,000 grants. So I was just thinking it, I know it's not thus traditional kind of community project, but in my site, if you're building and helping houses to help us with this housing crisis that we all have. So Trevor will get you guys that information.
Awesome, thank you.
Sweeney, your question, sir?
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. It's a simple question, Madam Secretary. You have a lot of initials after your name. Can you tell me what those are? I mean, there's a lot of them.
So, so I'm an HR professional, so that's the PHR, and then I'm also a certified coach. So that's the board coaching certification
Got it.
that you see there. So I do have a side business where I do coaching, executive coaching on the side, as well as I'm an HR professional for a financial service.
SHRM? Is that one?
Yes, sure. Yeah, so I have my SHRM and my PHR. So all these certifications, make it
And
look good.
and
so to
CP's
speak.
classy person?
I'll take that one.
Got it.
G, BFF, genius best friend forever. So my co-founders or my friends are of 37 years.
Yeah, you have to tell all that, but okay.
Yes, that's
on the
okay.
record.
That's okay. And I am so proud. I am so proud. Both, bank VPs, and they're just incredible women. And I knew that I had to pull them in. They were going to be the right people to help me do this. And LaToya has been kind of the engine behind getting people to talk to us and getting in front of you. So,
Yeah.
and
And County Councilwoman, you know where I come from, so it's in my
I
DNA.
am so proud.
I was just about to mention your mom, God rest her, yes. She comes from good DNA stock.
And just having experienced homelessness herself in a single mother household, like, she is just a powerhouse behind our mission and our passion. And I just felt like it's ridiculous for single moms and veterans to be out here struggling and not being able to find a place to live. Like, it's just silly. We have,
Councilman Miller?
I just wanted to close it out if I can.
Okay,
ma'am.
sorry.
It wasn't, I wasn't making light of it, but it was just an opportunity to see you guys smile and talk about yourselves. But this is something awesome that's happening, so thank you.
So, Madam Chair, on the community development supplemental, and that is a very good idea. My understanding is that the program is designed for municipalities or community development corporations to be applicants. So you might need to get one of those, either a municipality or a community development corporation, to partner with you and to make the application to the county on your behalf. And I think it clearly fits within the scope and mission of this program, and the grants are typically for $50,000. That would certainly be enough money to make a difference and help what you're trying to do, so.
Yes.
So, and I would mention one other thing, that the applications are done once a year and are typically due sometime around the 1st of December. So, so you have some time to find a partner, get a program together, figure out exactly what you would do with the money, and good luck on that.
That would go to materials.
Mm-hmm.
Our materials budget is 60,000, so.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, Sarah could work with you and send out you the application, but I know when Councilman Miller states community partners, Director Goldstein, it's perfect for that, and I'm sure she wouldn't hesitate to assist you guys with that going through, especially since her community is going to be awarded a nice, a future home, so. Without any further ado, unless
Councilwoman?
you, yes, Councilwoman?
If I may.
Yes, ma'am.
And just to piggyback on what Councilman Miller was saying, that each year they also have an informational meeting in advance of the grant period. So we'll make sure that you receive that information from Director Sarah Parks Jackson. And then I also just wanted to add, not to get religious or anything, but Esther chapter 4, verse 14 reminds us that God intentionally planned the details of each and every one of our lives. And my colleagues bring so much wisdom to the table. I don't say much. I just listen to them most of the time because I know you came here for one reason, but, sometimes you get other gifts, right? And so they don't pay us much, but I think I earned whatever little money they give us today. I just feel so honored and full to be able to support women, even Mrs. Ward before you, who are really serious about your commitment to making an impact in our community. So what am I going to do? I'm going to support that, right? I want to thank the councilwoman for inviting me to the house unveiling. I was so amazed how beautiful it was, the craftsmanship, just all the folks that were committed to bringing that project to fruition. And on the spot, I said, let's do a house. I got your next one. What are we going to do? I always try to make sure I follow through on what I say I'm going to do. I had the privilege of doing another house with Beta Lambda Omega Foundation, also in my district. So I'm trying to build my district up. Y'all see what I'm doing? Trying to take care of my people.
One project at a time.
One project at a time, one house at a time. So again, I just want to thank you ladies for all that you're doing. Until next time, and I ask for my colleagues' support of this project.
Without any further ado, I'd like to move R2024-0174 to the full council under second reading.
Second.
And it's been moved by Conwell, seconded by Turner. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Yes.
Did you ask that my name be added?
Yeah, add all of us if it's not on there.
Yes. Thank you.
We are here at the presentation time, and so if I could invite up Ms. Johnson and her team, please state your names for the record. This is part of the presentation, not so much from my ARPA funds or the ARPA funds that have come through HHS, but I want to say maybe 2 years it's been in planning from the HHS administration that we should have a child protection team. And so we're getting our update today. So welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Council, for having us here to give you an update. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. And most importantly, thank you, because all of the things that I'm about to tell you are a direct result of the funding that you have enabled us to have in order to serve these kids. So I just want to call that out and thank you so much for your continued support.
And Ms. Johnson, if you could state your name for the record, please.
You know what? You told me to do that and I didn't do it. I'm so sorry. My
Thank
name
you.
is Jennifer Johnson.
Thank you.
Got it? I'm so sorry. To my team, please make sure you do that. I did tell them. So let me see. I think I go the green button, right? And then the slides are the green button is the slide though, right? Or I'll just tell you. I'll
the
just
green
tell you
button.
which slide. I thank
That's
you,
fine.
no problem. Well, you already know who I am. You know, I'm the Executive Director of Canopy Child Advocacy Center. We have the Child Protection Team that was funded at the end of 2022. It was right after Christmas, and we got started as soon as we received the contract, and so we started January 1st of 2023. So next slide. Our key partners are several members of the county, the prosecutor's office, the Department of Children and Family Services, the sheriff's office. We also partner with Frontline Service, the National Youth Advocate Program, Journey Center for Safety and Healing, University Hospitals, Metro Health, Cleveland Clinic, and the Cleveland Division of Police, as well as several other police partners that we work with. These are our key partners that make this work and help us deliver the services, but we've also, as a result of the Child Protection Team funding, engaged with Invest in Children through Cuyahoga County, Juvenile Court, the Brenda Glass Trauma Recovery Center, and Case Western Reserve University, specific to this project. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. So the activities that we set out to do were set up in a timeline with various phases. Our first phase was very focused on getting up and running. And so we very intentionally gave ourselves that first 6 months to establish what we needed to with our community partners, get staff hired, get things established with the 3 health systems, and then set out to start serving kids at the very end. We had a soft launch from June 1st to the end of June, and then we formally started opening up to see children officially on July 1st. So some of the things that we accomplished were seeing one family when we did open, June 1st. We contracted and solidified the contract with Metro Health. So a huge part of this Child Protection Team project, if you remember, is a partnership with the health systems to staff the medical suite that is at the Child Advocacy Center so that we can see kids on site to provide medical exams. Prior to the Child Protection Team, the medical suite was only open 1 half day a week. Now the medical suite throughout this project has become open 4 half days a week. But that took us establishing a formal contract with Metro Health and then Metro Health forming contracts with Cleveland Clinic and University Hospitals so that we could do this partnership together. So we solidified that in phase 1. We initiated the staff hiring and the orientation, and we began to assess what would happen when we needed future space. We also were able to launch this implementation committee, and we held 4 meetings, and we started working on a memorandum of understanding. We currently hold one now with most of our community partners, but since we added these individuals that you just heard me mention, and because we didn't have the hospitals on our memorandum of understanding before, we needed to add those. We're still in the middle of doing that because it takes a long time to get memorandums of understanding passed through the legal systems of 3 major health systems. But we are on our way. Next slide. In phase 2, from July 1st through December 31st, 2023, we served 41 kids, 53 total, including siblings. We opened the medical suite from 1 day to 3 days. We were able to continue hiring staff, and phase 2 is really where we picked up and completed a lot of what we had hoped to complete in phase 1, but hiring is always a challenge. So we hired 10 additional staff, and all of our unfilled positions were posted. We took the steps to begin to figure out what we needed to do when we outgrow our space. We contracted with Allegro. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They're a real estate company. They're wonderful. We continued the implementation and oversight committee, and we continued to work on the memorandum of understanding as well as drafting our operations manual. I think we'll be forever drafting the operations manual because we are learning as we go, but it is definitely a work in progress. We were able to purchase electronic equipment and all of our supplies to get the project going. Next slide, please. In phase 3, January 1st through April 30th. Phase 3 doesn't end until June 30th, they're all built out in 6 months, but obviously I had to stop it at some point when I came to give you a report today. So this is a little bit shorter, but in this short time frame, we've served an additional 51 children, 60 including siblings. As you can see, the medical suite is now 4 days a week with a partnership with Cleveland Clinic and University Health Systems and Metro. We have all of our positions filled that are internal Canopy staff, and we have 2 open therapist positions with our contracted partners. That's Journey Center for Safety and Healing and the National Youth Advocate Program. We have continued to meet with our oversight committee, and we are finalizing the memorandum of understanding. Next slide, please. So overall highlights to date are that we've served 120 additional children. We've gotten 93 referrals. I know that you specifically were interested in wanting to know how many of those came from Children's Services. 90 of those come from Children's Services. They're our dominant referral source. That does not mean that other suburban law enforcement and community partners and professionals, medical professionals especially, aren't involved. But those people, those last 2, law enforcement and medical, are mandated reporters. So they're often also referring to Children's Services. 10 employees were hired. New services that were added on, including the medical examination, so kids no longer have to go to all 3 health systems individually to get medical examinations when they're involved with us. They can get them on site at the Child Advocacy Center. And the huge piece of this was also access to the medical records from all 3 health systems, and I'm gonna have the hospitals themselves who are here with me as my partners to speak further about that, but that is very significant. We hired a full-time medical records person who has access to all 3 health systems' information. She's a Canopy employee, but she was trained in how to access the system for all 3 hospitals, and she helps the community partners get that information in real time. They don't have to chase it. They can have it within 24 to 48 to 72 hours, depending on when the notes are signed off. That helps our community partners make informed decisions on safety. And in addition to that, she can help the hospital partners see information that they may have not previously been able to see to be able to make good medical decisions. Not that they were not making them in as best of a manner as they could before, but it's an added enhancement, which was a significant part of this project that we're still learning how to navigate, but that we have accomplished. We have done case review for the physical abuse cases. Before this project, we weren't seeing those cases, and now these cases get discussed every single week. And by doing that, we're able to come together as partners to make informed decisions on what needs to happen together with the family and do the best we can to keep that family in the least restrictive environment, to keep them safe, to enable them to get the services that they need, such as therapy, advocacy, additional community support. We've also been able to hire an independent forensic interviewer. Traditionally, before the CPT project, we would have Children's Services and law enforcement do forensic interviews. They still do, and they still can, but we were also able to hire a full-time forensic interviewer at Canopy so that when they weren't available or when a case wasn't needing to be involved with Children's Services, we could still have someone do the interview and have someone trained that knows how to do the interview. And that is really significant because that's best practice across the country. So we're thankful that you helped provide that funding to do that. And we've had great success with the interviewer we have. She's phenomenal. And our partners see such a value add to having that resource on site. Next slide. The total annual budget for year 1 was $2 million. Our program expenses to date are $700,000. Given the enormous need in our community, we do expect that we will spend down this funding. Hiring has been a significant challenge in this environment, not just for Canopy, but also for the health systems, and they'll speak to that themselves, but around the special expertise that it takes to see these kids. So we have definitely spent less earlier on, but we do anticipate to spend it now that we've been able to hire all the staff and we've been able to ramp up and start seeing the clients. We continue to consider other ways to meet the need despite the challenges, and we've come up with creative ideas to address when feasible, such as raising salaries and looking at different ways to still meet the need despite inability to fill positions. And the health system specifically will talk about that when they come up as well. Next slide. Amazing work is being done. Just last Thursday, Canopy surprisingly received an award. We were nominated from Invest in Children for our team innovation approach to the Child Advocacy Center as a whole, but especially with the Child Protection Team project. We've had families that have been able to remain intact as a result of being engaged with the Child Protection Team, whereas traditionally, if they had medically compromised challenges that the parents weren't able to meet, that child would have had to be removed in order to keep them safe. We've had cases that have come through where, because of the support of the team, because of case review, because of the advocacy that was done by each of the workers, they thought outside the box about how to keep that child in that family. So what that did was it minimized the trauma that that family would have had and that that child would have had by having to be removed, and it kept them safe all at the same time and enabled the systems to do their job and the family and that child to still be safe. We've had families, when they've had to be removed, be able to be removed in a quick and efficient manner, interviewed in a safe, child-friendly place that isn't the home where the abuse and neglect was occurring, and able to start receiving services immediately with all services on site. And they can be at the CIC as long as they need to. If it's 7 hours, if it's 5 hours, if it's 10 hours, whatever they need to do to feel supported, because we have the staff to meet those needs. Each week, the medical suite is being used more and more often, and this minimizes the trauma that happens when kids have to access the health systems in different areas and enables the health systems to speak and communicate together more efficiently. Children that experience severe physical abuse are now receiving a higher quality of care. If you remember, before this funding, we were not seeing physical abuse. We were only seeing sexual abuse, 12 and under, and human trafficking. And the child protection team partners across several disciplines feel welcomed and supported. And because of that, they're able to do a better job protecting kids. Next slide, please. Our opportunities that exist are that we need to continue to hammer out relationships and address challenges as they occur in real time. If you remember, and as I know you do, there's a lot of different things that are happening in our community with these kids that are not just the child protection team. There's the children in the building crisis that we're working on addressing through supporting the Child Wellness Campus and all kinds of different things that have happened since this was funded. But we really believe that trying to help these kids earlier on while still supporting what is necessary in our community to help these kids that need additional assistance is the most crucial thing. We need to increase visibility and broader community awareness. In the initial stages, we've been really focused on onboarding and ramping up. And now that we have more time and capacity and resources, I think it's really important that we get out more into the community and tell them what we do and about the child protection team. So increasing awareness amongst the health systems internally, we function and work with, and you'll hear from my partners in the health systems select departments. We look forward to being able to expand knowledge within the health systems, such as the emergency rooms and pediatrics, so that they know about what the CIC and the child protection team are. Continuing to respond to partner feedback and exploring additional referral sources as needed. As I listen to these two individuals share about their resources, I am ready to help make those connections to our team back at Canopy. Next slide. I have all three health systems here to come and speak with you. I'll call up Dr. Aparna Roy, Chief of Pediatrics at Metro Health first, to talk about how we've been able to staff the medical suite together and how we're working to target challenges and share information amongst one another.
State your names for the record.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Council. I am Aparna Roy. I am the chairperson of pediatrics at the Metro Health System. It is my honor and pleasure to be here in front of you today. We are very proud supporters and collaborators of the Child Protection Team and the Canopy. We have been working very closely together with all the other health systems as well as with the CSC to be able to provide care to the children that you heard about. The staffing challenges have been real post-pandemic. To give you an idea of how dismal the picture nationally looks, child abuse pediatricians, they are the smallest workforce in the entire country. They are also the oldest workforce in the entire country. Very few fellows are going into it now, and there are multiple reasons for it. The American Academy of Pediatrics in February 2024 came out with a report that explained the magnitude of the problem. We know nationally there are about 9 children out of 1,000 who get traumatized. The number of child abuse pediatricians nationally is 0.7 per 100,000. In Ohio, it is 0.4 per 100,000. So we know that there is workforce shortage. What we are trying to do to work around that, I think we've learned some very important lessons in the onboarding and the ramping up together. We have learned together that we need a different model of care. We need more collaborators, which is how the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospitals is helping us a lot with their vast experience in this. Dr. McDavid is here, and then we have representation from the Cleveland Clinic as well. And coming up with different models involving advanced practice providers, involving providers who are not just pediatricians, also family medicine providers, emergency medicine providers, general pediatricians who may not be fellowship trained, but have a very avid interest and the ability to do some certification programs in child abuse. Can be explored as we move along further. I'm happy to answer any further questions that you have.
Any questions from my colleagues? Not yet.
Dr. Lolita McDavid from University Hospitals. She's the Medical Director of Child Advocacy and Protection at University Hospitals, and I know you're familiar with her.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm glad I got to see Mrs. Ward. She's incredible. She and Denzel brought us holiday packages at our outpatient clinic. And if you don't know, her husband was a principal. And when he died, they closed the school on the day of his funeral so that the students and their families could attend.
Excuse me, doctor, if you could state your name for the record, please.
I'm sorry. Lolita, Lolita, McDavid, McDavid.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got so excited about seeing her. So I'm at Rainbow, and we do an annual report, which we're happy to make available to you. But within the patients that we see, we see about 1,000 a year because we cover a large area in Northeast Ohio. But Canopy has been part of what we've been doing since the inception, since actually the development of Canopy, and we've been very involved. So in the last year since I was here, one of the things that we've done with funds that you have supported us with is to actually be able to hire another, it's called a SANE nurse, S-A-N-E, sex assault nurse examiner. And we've used funds for that. We also have used money for parking tickets for families. People come and they park in the parking garage and they got to get out. We supply replacement clothing because when people have been victims of sexual assault, they take off the clothes they have and we make sure that they have appropriate things to go home with. We make meal tickets available to families because sometimes you can be there a long time. And also cab vouchers to get people home if that's necessary. We work in very close relationship with Canopy and help them raise money and continue the mission. This was an unusual place because Cleveland was the last major city that did not have a child advocacy center. And so it was important that we get this done, and we've got it done, and we have great leadership under Mrs. Johnson and her staff, and we're pleased to work with them.
And finally, we have Colin St. John. He's the Senior Director of Primary Care Pediatrics at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation.
Thank you. My name is Colin St. John. Thank you, Madam Chair, Council. It's a pleasure to be here today. Just to add to what has been already stated, as the Cleveland Clinic, we help staff the medical suite at Canopy. It's been an extremely great partnership, very collaborative with the health systems, with Canopy, with Jennifer and team's leadership. As mentioned, we know that staffing has been a challenge. We're working internally to grow our child protection team, and they're also growing the support and the staffing at Canopy in addition to that. We continue to, again, collaborate, and I know there's regular meetings, and again, really the growth of the team for our child protection team and our ability to provide services at Canopy is our goal and our focus as we look ahead. And really, again, nothing else to add, but just to echo again the collaboration and partnership thus far. Any questions?
I'll take one.
Councilman Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just when you say staffing, what does that mean? Is it rotating? How much of an impact it has on you? And I know Cleveland Clinic is dedicated to it, but just curious about what staffing means.
Absolutely. And what I'm referring to directly is the providers at Canopy and providers within our team internal to the Cleveland Clinic. It takes a unique, dedicated, passionate caregiver specifically for these services. So identifying physicians, advanced practice providers, SANE nurses within our Cleveland Clinic team that provide services internally and physically at Canopy as well.
And through the chair, is it a volunteer? Is it kind of an assignment, part of their job? How does that work?
It is a part of their job, yes.
It's part of the mission of the Cleveland Clinic.
Part of the mission of the Cleveland Clinic, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from my colleagues? Okay, I had a few. And I don't know, you might not be done with your presentation, so well.
You can ask them now, or I can finish, and then they can come up. They know they got to stay.
You can finish.
So that's okay. All right. Next slide. Thank you. This is a huge partnership with Health and Human Services, specifically with Division of Children and Family Services. So we have William Mensch from the hotline at Cuyahoga County Health and Human Services and David Merriman just to come talk with you about their experience and how they've engaged with Canopy in this project. And I know that there were some specific questions about Title IV-E reimbursement, so they'll speak to that.
Good afternoon, David Merriman, Department of Health and Human Services, and I'll let my colleague introduce himself.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm William Mensch with the hotline.
So I'm going to let Bill speak on the general experience to date and how we are coordinating. I do want to share that we continue to pursue 4E reimbursement. We don't have a specific path at this point, but it's something that we're still looking at. We're also looking at if there are other grants and there are other means for us to have sustainability for services. I think this is a critical part of our continuum now, and so we're committed to it. And I think Jennifer and I talk, if not weekly, every week and a half or so. So we are just going to continue to delve deep into all the different funding opportunities that are available. I want to take a second also, just we're out of order. I think I'm doing other first. I have to recognize that some of what CPT has meant for DHHS broadly and DCFS specifically, I think has been an outlet as we've had youth awaiting placement in our building. There have been times that they have reached out to say, do you want to send them over? Do you want to just send them to utilize our facilities, our indoor basketball court? Do you want to, can we just come over and talk to them? Can we help? And I think it's the spirit of the partnership that inspires me the most. And it's a willingness to work outside of lanes. I think the work itself is technical and complex to begin with. So when somebody wants to go beyond that and find other ways to help and add quality, that really does speak directly to the nature of the relationship. And this is a public-private partnership. I think we are here together and recognizing that the service will require that level of coordination for it to be successful. And I appreciate Jennifer and her team for the direct service work they do, as well as the advocacy and then the coordination with all these providers. I'm going to let Bill speak to the specifics of how DCFS is coordinating on services.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Well, thanks for having us. Thank you for hearing us. The collaboration, I just want to speak to this for a moment. I've had an opportunity to speak with my staff that are on the front lines of this. They gave me a couple of gruesome stories, and all successful in one way or another. However, I'm tempted to read those, but I don't want to. Some are gruesome, some are tragic. I think most of them do end up in a family that is broken and they need to be put back together. Or they're in the midst of a difficult situation, such as medical needs. 16-year-old confined to a wheelchair. And the parent has a fear of doctors. And so there's this barrier, for whatever reason, there's a fear there. And so as we work with that family and try to break down those barriers, we have a partnership with the CAC. And they're working with maybe hard goods. Perhaps there's a new wheelchair that's necessary. Or perhaps there's counseling services that are needed for that parent. What is the barrier? How did that barrier for that parent ever surface in the first place? And so those can be some difficult challenges, particularly with a workforce. And we've talked about this shortage of a workforce. And we have our own share of workforce difficulties. We're trying to fill those roles. But that partnership enables us to move forward with that family and perhaps keep them together, put the correct safety measures in place, while at the same time get those referral for services and get a better understanding what that deeper issue is with that family. That's probably the best way I could share with you what's going on. Now, this partnership is great for our staff. It's fantastic because they've got a lot to do, but it's really great for families. Now, we started this with 6 staff in the unit, and we now have 8. We increased it by 2 for the fact that we see the betterment of families in our community. And that seems to be working. So as I sit here in this audience today, listening to the providers step up and share all that they're doing, I must admit, because I'm not out there, I'm at the hotline, I'm trying to run this 24/7 operation, they're doing this great work that would be very difficult to do on their own. The staff greatly appreciate this cooperation and this helpful hand. And it's not just the helpful hand, it's moving the work forward much more quickly than they could do on their own. Do you have any questions for me? Thank you.
Well, I did on that point. In terms of, you talk about, I know hotline is 24-hour access. Is the facility in itself available 24 hours? That was one of my questions.
When called upon, yes. We're not able to, because of our current space and how we share it with the visitation center, open 24/7 and have staff there on site. But we have some people, directors available 24/7 to be called and can open up the center and accommodate a family as needed. In our future space, that is the long-term goal. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Yes.
May I
Councilman
have a
Miller.
follow-up question?
Yes, sir.
For me?
Yes.
Okay.
To Director Johnson, when are you expecting the new space to be completed and up and running?
Through the chair to the councilman, we have to find a space. We have been looking, we got started right away with Allegro last summer. When we got that funding, we vetted various real estate companies, and then engaged with Allegro early spring into the summer. And we are having a terribly difficult time finding a space that's affordable. It's really important that we're located in the Midtown area, or at least central from east and west, or that we somehow would have 2 centers if that was necessary, but we want to try to avoid doing that because you know well that families from the east side don't travel to the west side and the west side to the east side. And we don't want a west side family to be in need and to not get what they need because we're too far east, and the same goes the other way around. But a lot of the spaces that are available in Midtown are so out of our reach financially. We're very blessed right now to pay a nominal amount in rent, but we're in a very small, limited space, for those of you that have been to the center, and a space that we share with a lovely organization, Journey Center for Safety and Healing, that they need that space as well. So we're just limited. Everywhere we go, the quotes we get are around $18 to $24 a square foot. And for us, that's quadrupling what we pay. So we're in the middle of finding a space. I am pressing forward. We will find a space, but we are still in the middle of trying to solidify a space. So I don't have a space yet to begin construction, but if you know of one, please send them my way, Councilman.
So I wish you the very best of success in that. And I know that the economics of the Midtown area have changed dramatically in the last decade, and it reflects that area becoming much stronger economically.
It's a good thing.
But it also has this negative side that you're not able to get space at the cost that you once could. So I hope you're able to find a workable way around it.
I do as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next slide. So we just wanted to share with you what is next. As I had mentioned before, we're going to increase awareness of the child protection team in the community. We're going to increase the number of referrals. We've been, as you can see in those two phases, increasing, so we'll continue to increase the total number of children and families served. We're going to expand criteria beyond just the most severe physical abuse to additional physical abuse as we have capacity. We hope, if we can manage changing the medical staffing model, fingers crossed, that we'll be able to expand the medical staffing, fill our therapy positions, expand our hours of operation when we have a new space and we are able to do it consistently. We definitely are responsive now, but it's on a responsive basis. We do look for a space where we can be open additional consistently. Solidify finding a space, finalize our memorandum of understanding, and continue to assess and respond to partner feedback. I really feel that we have a positive path forward. These 100 families that we've seen were not 100 families that we were seeing before, all experiencing physical abuse and neglect. And the next slide is for questions. So I know that I brought a lot of people up in front of you, so please let me know if the question's for me or any of them, and I can happily bring them back up.
All right, I have a couple. Any other questions from my colleagues? All right, so mine will be for you,
Yes, ma'am.
Director. Have you, and I know you spoke about when you talked about your highlights for 93 referrals and 90 from DCFS. Have you marketed to the suburban communities to get the information out? And I think you might have touched on that a little bit later on in your presentation of how we get your services notified out there.
Yes, so we started with marketing to the suburban police departments to make sure they knew who we were and what we do. Our director of community partnerships, he is here back there in the blue suit, Michael Bachmiller, has been going out and educating them, and then we look to do additional expansion in community education and awareness into the suburbs over the summer and in the fall.
Good. Then later on in the highlights, you talked about the new service includes medical exams, access, et cetera. Access to the information is available.
Access to medical records?
Yes.
Yes.
It's available for, you talked about the 3 hospital systems, but would it also be included with DCFS since we give the most referrals?
So our medical records clerk can access the medical records from Metro Health, University Hospitals, or Cleveland Clinic, and then we can share what is necessary for their investigation with DCFS on site versus them having to fill out paperwork, submit a form, wait for a phone call back, et cetera. Now, we still fill out forms. We still get all the legal paperwork done, but it's on site and it's more efficient.
Other thing would be the funding, and this might be a David Merriman question. The funding allotted for this contract is in which fund? Is it kept separate? Are they invoiced, or is it in the general fund for the remaining balance? I don't know how this, we gave them a certain amount and their only expenses to date is at a certain dollar amount.
Yeah, it's drawdown. So I think we're multi-year contract, and they have the ability to use it. I think it seems like there's a chance we might be able to extend the term, but that's something we're still watching.
Right, and I think my final question or comment would probably be, it's the first that I'm hearing that you're growing out of space, so my suggestion, being a new nonprofit and pretty much still solely supported by the county, suggestions to stay in current space for now. I know it takes a while. That could be, at least you're looking at it. It could take 2 years to find space, if not longer. But we're really limited over here in the proximity that you need to be. So I didn't know if that had anything to do with, I did go out and meet
Robin?
the ex-director at Journeys when she was leaving.
Melissa.
And she was sharing a little bit that, the owner of that property, so I didn't know if that had something to do with and why you're looking for space, but I was kind of aware that they were going to be given an option, or they didn't know if they were going to be able to be given an option to stay, or how that was going to work out.
They were given an option, and that enabled us to request extension with our sublease with them. I think the challenge is when we have multiple families there, which we do, we have kids on the floor. We have families on the floor. We don't have space for staff. Staff are on the floor in the gym. And so trying to manage that when that's only going to get increased, right, with the numbers that we're serving, and balancing that without having a place, right? So we have a great partnership with Journey Center, and we continue to extend, and I'm fairly confident that they would continue to extend. It's really just a matter of what we need to be able to serve the families. We're going to be limited with, they do visitation on Thursday evenings, Friday evenings, Saturdays, and Sundays. So our staff right now have to get out of their offices at 3 o'clock on Thursdays, 3 o'clock on Fridays, and we can't do anything on the weekends. And so we absolutely will continue.
The problem.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, we'll absolutely continue to stay where we are as long as we possibly can, but we also need to take the time to find a space, because that is what is needed for us to be able to meet the need in the community.
Okay. Any other questions from my colleagues? Anything else you'd like to share? I appreciate this. I'm sure we'll have some other questions, maybe. And we will definitely send them your way, but I thank you for giving us, this is hopefully a long-term relationship. So we'll make sure as you are starting out in your various phases that maybe in 6 more months, we'll see where you are, or a year, whatever.
Whatever you need.
Okay.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next item, which is miscellaneous business. I just wanted to make a comment and also ask my colleagues if they had anything that they would like to add for miscellaneous business. But I just wanted to put out there, based on comments that were made earlier, the county's first priority when initially children come into our care is to place in Cuyahoga County and not out of state. So I just wanted to put that on the record. That is what we fight for every single day. It doesn't always happen, but that is our top priority. So I will open it up to my colleagues if they have anything else to say.
No, just can you hang on for a second for a quick photo before you leave with
Yes.
Ms. Ward?
Can we
and
adjourn the
DNA?
meeting though?
Oh, yeah, but that was my miscellaneous business.
Okay,
Yes.
that's your miscellaneous. But we don't have to still be on the record. Anything else? All right, meeting adjourned.